Oh, it looks pretty empty so far. It's dead. But we're here to see what they have to say. We got about 10, 12 minutes till they get started out here, and it looks like not a lot of people are here, but yeah, they're gonna talk about these really, really serious critical changes to law that they're introducing, and we're gonna see what they're talking about. But I guess we got like 10 minutes. I'm mostly testing out the live here. But yeah, so if you don't know, for the handful of you here, Theo Wold, who was at God's Country March, and obviously Mark from Old State Saloon, they were announcing on social media that they were going to come here and talk here in about 10 minutes about all of the changes they're bringing through legislation this legislative season to make Idaho the toughest state on immigration. A bunch of new bills and stuff that probably Idaho Freedom Foundation, the Idaho Project for Conservative Values or whatever, Idaho Policy for Conservative Values or whatever, Family Values or whatever. These organizations that are writing these bills just to make life harder for immigrants and all of us out here doing the ice wash and whatnot. So they're just going to talk about all the stuff they're going to be putting into law, and we are a super minority. So obviously whatever they introduce is probably going to get passed through. So we're just here for the updates. If they're going to tell us what they're doing, we'll listen. But it's pretty dead here. I don't think. Seems like a lot of people maybe didn't get the memo. Oh, there's a MAGA right there. I'm bored. Let's go talk to him. No, I'm just kidding. Let's just go talk to some people because it's quiet. Hey man, do you know where the thing is going to be tonight? Talking about like the new law that's being introduced for immigrants and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's in EW42.
EW42. How do I get there?
Garden level.
Garden level.
Ground floor.
Okay.
You can either go around here, but you'll go down a level, and it's all the way to that end of the wing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
So there's a good chance I'm not going to be able to live stream. I think my service is probably going to be cut. I don't think I can live stream from inside the Capitol, so this might be a short video, but we'll see what's up. Hey guys, going down a level? Yeah, cool.
How are you today?
Doing all right. How are you?
Doing good, thanks. Yeah, you've been talking to them for a little while.
Oh, okay. Hey, sir, can you tell me where EW42 is? EW42. Yeah, I was at the town hall.
All the way down in the rack.
Yeah, thank you.
Where those doors are.
Cool, thank you. That was Representative Matthias, recognized me from the town hall. That must be the room. Let's go get badge numbers.
I'll be here.
How much longer are you? Totally. How much longer are you here now? Okay. I'm in DC next. I've noticed 16 minutes.
Devin. Man, good to see you, dude. Great yourself. Good. Right on.
Oh, really? And Beverly, don't you plan your event on choice?
That was Matthias that just entered, so we got Matthias in here. Literally the only person I recognize. People aren't really talking right now. Once they start talking, I will let you guys know, and then you can let me know if you hear them or not. But if you can't hear them, there's probably not a lot I can do about the sound. Are you hearing anything more now? Can you hear any ambient sound now or any background chatter now? Are we still not hearing anything except for my voice? They're about to talk on mic, so please let me know. Okay.
So we were pausing just a few minutes. There was people trickling in from out front. So in about a minute here, we'll get going. Thank you everyone who has come. We were not anticipating whether we did 10 or 200. We have no idea. My name is Dale Hawkins. I'm a representative from District 2, which is in North Idaho, 5 counties, Clearwater.
I'd say there's about 60 people here.
Shoshone,
60, I'd say, is an accurate count.
County and a little bit of Bonner. What we've invited you guys here today is to talk about immigration issues. I don't know how many of you in the room know that it's the highest polling issue in the state of Idaho. The people of Idaho have contacted us over and over again, and they're tired of the legislature doing nothing. So what we are here tonight to do is to unveil
Can you hear his voice?
some legislation that we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you about a 50,000-foot view. We have a 287G bill that affects counties, local law enforcement. We've left the state police out because they have their own bill already. I can go into the details with any one of you that want to know afterwards, but that's the one we have there. We have an immigration status report of arrested. We want an audit of how many people are in our state that are taking up rooms in jails, county jails, state prisons. Now, I think we already have the number for the state prisons that came up in our JFAC review. We have 300 in the state prisons. We don't know how many that are spread around in the other areas of the state. Mind you, everything I'm talking about costs you, the taxpayer, money. You're paying for this. So we have unlawful employment of unauthorized aliens. That's what's going on in the state. There's been different numbers. 2 years ago, I think it was, I ran a memorial in the House, in the committee meeting for that memorial. The dairy industry admitted that 70% of their employees would fail an I-9 audit. Think about that for a minute. 70%. That's one industry. We also have a concealing, harboring, and sheltering bill. We ran this last year. It didn't get out of committee. We've made some changes. We hope that makes the difference. And this deals with the NGOs that are transporting basically people that are being shipped out who think they're coming to a better life, and in many cases they wind up in a, I would call a slave type situation. They work for people, they can't complain, they have nowhere to go, they're stuck. So this is a problem for them as well as it is for us. We also have an auditing bill for the school system. We need to know how many people are we putting in our education system. The Plyler ruling made it so that we can't turn people away from education, that's fine. But if the federal government's requiring us to educate, then the federal government should be paying for us to do it. But we don't even know how many are there. Now we want an auditing, we just need an aggregate total of number. We don't want addresses and names, we're not looking to out people anywhere. And we know that they know the information because if any school in this state K through 12 is enrolling children with no identification in the midst of 300,000 missing children in the U.S., that's going to be a problem that's completely different. The other thing we have is an audit bill to audit the refugee resettlement program. All these programs, all this auditing is not going to cost us any money. Any of these programs, the state, whether it's state or federal money going to the NGOs, resettlement program, they are all required to keep records and provide. What we will be asking for is them to provide them. And this is about a 50,000-foot view of 6 pieces of legislation that we have. I won't say that that's all we have, but that's what we're revealing tonight. And just so you know my heart in this thing, you know, there's a lot of words that get thrown around about why we're doing this or why people are concerned. We're losing our culture as Americans. There was a time, for a long, long time, for maybe centuries, I won't say decades and decades and decades, that people came to this country. They risked their lives and everything to come here to be Americans. They traveled and they came in legally, and they wanted to learn our language. They wanted to learn our ways. They wanted to respect our culture. That's changed. Now people are coming here and trying to recreate the culture they said they had to flee here. And that's damaging our country. It's damaging our way of life. It's damaging our culture. It's damaging our home. And because we don't have the accurate number, we don't know if we're spending $400 million or just shy of $1 billion every year to sustain this. And some of the organizations that are hiring these folks are also receiving subsidies from the federal government. So we're paying from 2 different directions. I mean, people need to let that sink in. This is costing you money. Everybody in this room. And not just our state. We know what's happening in all the states. So I'm not going to labor this. We're going to kind of go through this quickly. And I just hope that you understand that our heart in this is for our state, for our country, for our national identity. And it's also for the people that are being abused. So, thank you.
You know what's great about these type of things? We can say whatever we want. We're in committee meetings, you're kind of limited. Real quick, there's a lot of legislators in the room, not just, these are a lot of them, but there's other legislators out here and people doing things and whatnot who are really passionate about this issue. So it's good, it's cool to see the support and see people come together around this. My name is Brian Lenny, state senator from Nampa, Idaho, District 13. I'm just going to talk for like 5 minutes, possibly 5.5, and then bring Theo up here to kind of wrap up, and we're going to take a couple questions in case you're wondering, what are we doing here? How long are we going to be here? But I wrote down some notes because if I don't, we're going to be all over the place. We probably will be anyway. But I digress. So when the left, I was thinking about this, I wrote all this stuff down this morning. When the left talks about illegal immigration or foreign nationals or refugee resettlement type things, they typically phrase things in terms of race. You know, they look at it through a racial lens primarily, and or an economic lens. So that something I've seen a lot since I can remember, since the 80s, is it always comes down to race or labor. And I think that's all by design. I think it's all a smokescreen, because what they don't want you to know, or they don't want you and I to think about, is that this is really a human rights issue when we're talking about illegal immigration. It's a human rights issue, and they don't want you to think about that. They also don't want you to think about the fact that this is about, in my humble opinion, and probably several of you and several people behind me, this is about demographic replacement. And they're doing that via refugee resettlement programs, human trafficking, and cheap slave labor. But we still hear, ad nauseum from the left, if we get rid of the illegal aliens or undocumented workers, whatever term you want to use, who's going to pick our crops? Who's going to clean our hotels? Or as one, there's no children in the room, I don't think. Or as one Democrat in Vermont put it, who's going to wipe our asses? Someone said that last summer. So that's how they're looking at these people, an entire group of people who are being exploited. They look at them as a means to an end, so we get our crops picked, our hotels clean, and our bums clean, I suppose. So the Democrats haven't changed their tune on this since the 1830s. It's the same argument. If we get rid of the slaves, who will pick the cotton? That was my attempt at audience participation. It failed. But they've been beating that same drum since the 1830s. If we get rid of the slaves, who will pick the cotton? That was the Democrats back then, and that's Democrats and a lot of liberal Republicans today. Pat Buchanan, one of my favorite all-time people, he said, in half a lifetime, many Americans have seen their God dethroned, their heroes defiled, their culture polluted, their values assaulted, their country invaded, and themselves demonized as extremists and bigots for holding on to beliefs Americans have held for generations. I'm not that old, I'm 46 years old, but I'm old enough to remember when the GOP at least pretended to be the party of law and order. We used to be known as the party of law and order. Now I feel like we're pretending to be the party of law and order, or the party of compassion, or the party of doing the right thing and promoting love of neighbor. So I think with a lot of these bills and a lot of what we wanted to convey to you today is I think it's time to reclaim that moral high ground. Because I think the alternative is the exact opposite of all those things. If we have unfettered, unchecked mass migration, legal and illegal, I think we're going to lose our country and what it means to be an American. Because I would ask if it's a loving thing. So we hear from the left, well, you're not compassionate. We're supposed to be a Christian nation. Isn't it a loving thing? Like Jesus said, to welcome the immigrant. I'm like, well, he didn't really say that. But I would ask you, is it a loving thing? Is it a loving thing for your neighbor to steal their job and give it to someone else? Is it loving to steal your neighbor's housing and give it to someone else? Or is it loving to shove your neighbor's kids out of the way and give their share of the American dream to foreign nationals and illegal invaders who hate us? I don't think that's loving your neighbor. I think that's quite the opposite. And then on top of that, you have to make them all pay for it, right? So, almost done here, I swear. Like a minute and a half. So, bottom line for me is, and for us, and a lot of people up here, and a lot of people who are sitting there who could be up here and elsewhere, I think the overwhelming majority of Idahoans want to put an end to the pillaging of our state by foreign nationals, both legal and illegal. I think it's time to say no more cheap slave labor, no more propping up the third world, no more subsidizing corporate greed, cartels, and modern-day slavers through the exploitation of tens of thousands of foreign nationals who are currently in Idaho as we're sitting here. So these bills, Representative Hawkins mentioned, they matter because borders matter, language matters, culture matters, and if we lose those, we lose what it means to be an American. So it's long past time to say no to these economic, social, and cultural robber barons and say yes to the forgotten man, the United States citizen. So, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Theo Wold, former Idaho Solicitor General. It's been my pleasure to work with a number of these legislators in drafting some of these measures for consideration. A number of these bills were drafted and presented last session, almost a year ago, and were given next to no consideration in committee or an opportunity for an up and down vote on the floor. Illegal immigration and the reliance on a foreign national labor force is wrong for a host of reasons, many of those that have been named already by Senator Linney and Representative Hawkins. It destroys the rule of law, it damages cultural cohesion, and it's inconsistent with self-government itself. Those are just a few. But another significant problem, I think, that unifies all of these Republican legislators is that it steals from the American taxpayer, especially from Idaho taxpayers. That paragon of conservative journalism, the Los Angeles Times, conceded last week that mass deportations, in their words, are at least partly responsible for the significant decrease in rent costs, housing costs in the greater Los Angeles area. In Denver, the public school system was forced to request emergency appropriations in the tens of millions of dollars in 2024 after they were inundated with illegal alien minor children. In a typical school year, the Denver public school system would see about 500 to 800 illegal alien children matriculated in their schools. During the height of the Biden administration's illegal alien invasion, Denver schools were seeing the matriculation of about 500 to 800 illegal alien minor children per day. If you think that Idaho is somehow immune to these kinds of pressures, already in the West Ada School District at Boise High School, for example, there are now over 32 different languages spoken. The most common non-English languages spoken in these schools is Swahili and Arabic. Both languages require the hiring of special instructors for language remediation, all the way up to the point of graduation for high school seniors. As of 2024, 1 in 5 federal inmates in the federal prison system is an illegal alien. Many of these illegal aliens are serving time for murder, rape, domestic abuse, or the trafficking of illegal firearms, or women and children into forced labor and sexual exploitation. Again, to think that Idaho is somehow immune from the same rates of criminality or illegal alien recidivism is a red herring and a canard. Now, we'll hear from a lot of academics at Boise State or the University of Idaho, or moderate Republicans who will say, they'll repeat the oft-repeated statistic that illegal aliens commit crimes at a rate lower than native-born Americans. And I say that's a canard and it's a red herring because no one tracks that data. The state of Idaho currently has no statutory obligations for local or county or state jails and prison systems to book individuals and then to track the data of their citizenship or their nationality. These bills would require that kind of transparency. So, in short, these costs are imposed on Idaho taxpayers. And these costs are paid then through your tax dollars, where your money is diverted, as we learned in places like Minneapolis, for fraud, is wasted and abused, and then it's offered as benefits and subsidies to illegal immigrants and foreign nationals that are never afforded to American citizens, including our fellow Americans who have bled and fought in foreign engagements abroad for this country. Your government currently, because of gross mismanagement by state leadership, is asking you, the taxpayers, to accept less, take less in government services, or less in your purchasing power. While at the same time, these very same leaders refuse to seal off the fraud and the expense of foreign nationals and illegal aliens to the Idaho taxpayer. So these bills are designed to start rectifying the process, the wrongs, by making key information public to you. Information about how many illegal aliens are currently serving time in our jails and prisons, and at what cost to the taxpayer. How many illegal alien minor children have matriculated in our schools, at what cost to the taxpayer. And how many illegal aliens are accessing our clinics and our hospitals, and at what cost to you, the taxpayer. You have a right to know how much money is being spent on the children or the citizens of other countries. And I'll wrap up here. We'll hear immediately, as these bills drop over the next few days, argument about whether or not this will have a deleterious impact on Idaho's state economy. And I want you to think for a moment when you hear that kind of argument that what's really being said is you're not smart enough. You're not physically capable enough. You're not resilient enough to serve the interests of a 21st century economy. And yet, the American worker has always been the special recipe of this nation's success. The American worker has always been uniquely dedicated, uniquely innovative, dynamic, productive, and capable. And if I could, just very quickly, it was the American worker that invented the world that you live in, that invented air conditioning, the acrylic paint, the aerosol bomb, bulldozers, calculators, lasers, debit cards, fiberglass, the centrifuge, drilling rigs, the floppy disk, turbines, industrial robots, the internet, the washing machine, LEDs, the lithium-ion battery, microphones, microprocessors, Morse code, neoprene, nuclear submarines, the personal computer, the phonograph, the radio, the polio vaccine, radio telescopes, the dishwasher, satellite navigation, the television, the telephone, petrochemicals, the light bulb, electricity, and the automobile. We did okay, and we can do okay for the next 100 years. So one of the asks, I think, from citizens all throughout the state will be, what can we do? I'm going to hand it over to Michael Antoletti from Secure Idaho, who's going to give you a recipe, marching orders for how you can contact the leadership of the state legislature, including the Speaker, the Senate Pro Tem, and the chairs of all committees to ensure that we don't get stuck up on the usual gimmicks in committee procedure, but there's an actual up or down vote on the floor on these measures so that the Idaho citizens can see who's with them and who supports transparency and accountability in our government.
I see there's a lot of regular citizens like me in the room, and I'm speaking to you right now. So I'm with Secure Idaho. I don't know if you know who we are, but we were a ragtag group of volunteers that got together to fight ranked choice voting last year. And you might all remember that battle. It was billed as something good for the people, and they were going to totally blow up the electoral system, something that was highly functional, highly trusted, and do something totally new. The reality was it was bankrolled by elites and moneyed interests, mostly from out-of-state millionaires and billionaires. Okay, and the good news is, as you all know, Idahoans rejected it overwhelmingly. We crushed it. 70% of the voters voted against it, and it was a nonpartisan issue. Republican, Democrat, and Independents voted against it. And I'm here to tell you that that same dynamic is at work today. The good news is we have demonstrated that public will can defeat well-heeled money interests. And this is very relevant for this conversation. Okay. So real quick, this is a consensus issue. It's not a partisan issue. I want to keep emphasizing that. This isn't about conservatives or moderates or Democrats. This is about representing the public will. 81% in a Rasmussen poll, and there's a lot of polls going around, you can see some others here, 81% of Americans want something done about immigration reform and immigration enforcement. Again, it's a consensus issue. So with all of that agreement, 81% of Americans that want to do something, why do politicians still surface symbolic, empty legislation? Why do they still stymie the public will on this issue? Right? Well, I'll give you an example. Last Friday in the Senate, I'm not going to name names, a bill was introduced, and it was billed as E-Verify enforcement. When you actually look at the bill, and we studied the text, it only affects maybe less than 1% of all Idaho employers, and it has no real enforcement teeth. So you ask yourself, why would a bill like that even be surfaced and introduced in this House? I'll tell you why. It's being used for political cover. So a legislator who doesn't really want to change the status quo can say, hey, look, I voted for this, I did something. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're not going to let that happen again this session. I want to tell you what you can do and why today matters so much. I've seen the legislation, we've studied it, we've analyzed it. We're not a partisan group, we want real immigration reform, so we're going to empirically look at all these bills and we're going to score them and analyze them and let you, the public, know what we think of them. But I can tell you on first perusal of these bills, these are authentic immigration reform measures, okay? So what we're going to do, and if you all have a phone and if you don't know it, please bookmark this on your phone. I'm going to say the URL twice, because this is where you, the citizens, can help these legislators and others in the audience turn these proposed legislation into actual law. So the URL is idahoimmigrationwatch.org. Again, it's idahoimmigrationwatch.org. Let me tell you what's going to happen there and why this is going to be useful for you. First, we're actually tracking the money. It's kind of relevant to this conversation. Theo was talking about what the taxpayers are paying, but there's other money at work too. So we're actually going to show you which legislators are taking what money from the special interests that would like to kill this good legislation. It's already publicly available in the Secretary of State. We're not inventing any numbers. We're just simply showing you which legislator is taking what money from what lobby. It's relevant. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to track all of these bills. And to Theo's point, we want to at least get these bills to a House floor vote. But we're going to do more than that. We're going to track these bills every step of the way. So as you all know, or most of us now know, having played this game a little bit, a lot of good bills go to die silently in a drawer, right? Or they're refused a hearing in a committee, or they're infinitely postponed, or stalled, or any other number of ploys to make a bill quietly go away. We're going to track all of that activity this time. It's going to be totally sunlighted. You're going to see every one of those procedural moves on every one of these bills. So it's not going to go away in the dark anymore. And related to that, we are going to have a report card on all of our legislators this session, specifically related to immigration reform. And again, I emphasize this is nonpartisan. This is not about individuals. It's not about political parties. It's simply about advancing good immigration reform. And as some of you know, there is an election season coming this May in the primaries. And hopefully this report card might help make a difference. So long story short, I'm going to give you that URL one more time. It's idahoimmigrationwatch.org. And really all we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that the public will is not only heard, but it's respected. And all of us, we know what time it is in the country, let alone Idaho, and we're asking our legislators this session to give us the legislation, the immigration reform we deserve. Thank you.
So that's our official, we don't have anything else left, but we did want to take a few questions. I don't want to be here, all day, but if there's any pertinent questions from people in the audience, whoever can answer whatever you
I got it.
Ladies first. Go ahead.
Lynn Rascute, LD19. I have a question about the prison system. When an illegal alien is convicted of a crime, we send them to our prisons to eat fruit cocktail, exercise, have a wonderful life. Why don't we send them back to the country of their origin, which I can guarantee you is not going to be as nice as the prisons here in the United States? Why is that happening? Why don't we send them back? They've been convicted. Goodbye. See you later. Go back to Guatemala.
Yeah, so the way that federal and state penal law intersect with federal immigration law requires that an illegal alien convicted of a crime in the United States serve the pendency of their return here, and the completion of that then is deported. The problem, of course, is that on completion of their sentence, as is often happens here in Idaho, they are then redirected to anti-recidivism programs, i.e. halfway houses, or some kind of NGO charity that then helps obscure the record of that inmate, and then they disappear into the general public. So if it was a seamless garment that they served their time so that any victim is made whole by that service in the prison system, and then they are immediately deported upon completion, that would be great. Unfortunately, it's just not what's happening. And again, I just want to emphasize the point that at this juncture, none of your elected representatives can say with any certainty how many illegal aliens are actually in our jails or our prisons. That information maybe is held by the Idaho Department of Corrections. It's certainly not made available to you, the general public. And as you're asked, especially by local law enforcement authorities, to consider things like an expansion of an existing jail facility, or hiring more cops or more sheriff's deputies because there's an increase in crime or an increase in recidivism, you should at least know whether or not that crime is being committed by U.S. citizens. If that crime is being committed by foreign nationals who are here illegally present in our state, then you should wonder why you're being asked to pay for that. And why aren't more of your local law enforcement authorities working collaboratively with federal immigration authorities to get these criminals out of our state?
A Facebook group that I never agree with says immigrant generate nearly 10.6 trillion more in federal, state, and local taxes than they induce in total government spending, accounting for a savings of interest payments on the national debt. Immigrants save 14.5 trillion in debt over the 30-year period. I don't think that's true.
No, I think did everyone hear that, what he said? Yeah, no, I think they're a net economic drain up and down. I mean, we're paying for healthcare, education, food stamps, prison. You know, that's just ridiculous, I think. Yes, he'll have something academic and fun to say.
Just one other point. No matter how you feel about the current size of the Idaho state government or some of the publicly funded institutions in the state, including our secondary institutions of learning, there is no prohibition under current Idaho law for those institutions, departments, agencies, the state government, or the universities in hiring illegal aliens or employing foreign nationals who are here in the country on short-term labor visas. I think everyone can agree in this moment of an affordability crisis throughout the state and throughout our region that if there's a job available in a taxpayer-funded institution, whether it's working for the state, county, or local government, that American citizens should get that job, not foreign nationals, certainly not illegal aliens. And the legislature should create a prohibition on Boise State University or Clearwater County from hiring H-1B workers when those jobs could go to our graduates from these universities, or prohibiting illegal aliens from taking those jobs from American citizens.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say on that point that I just read on Facebook, nobody here, I don't think, is really interested in, I'm going to say it, the boomer argument on whether it benefits shareholders. Okay, we're talking about the American citizen. And so, illegal immigration, for the most part, crony capitalism has been the problem, right? Benefits, these big corporations hiring illegal aliens, skilled and unskilled labor visas, and illegal immigration over the American citizen. And so that, you know, the whole, you know, I heard Republicans did there, Democrats did that. Tip O'Neill would be excommunicated from whatever the Democrat Party has become, all right? And it was the Republican Party that essentially started to prioritize the shareholder over the citizen. And so that needs to change.
Yep, agreed.
Just one more for me, and I promise I'll say nothing more. Again, all of these legislators are linked, again, in fighting crony capitalism, and I think it will surprise a lot of Idahoans to know currently there are multiple multinational corporations that receive preferential tax treatment, subsidies, including the purchase of real property for their use, so that they can hire illegal aliens and foreign nationals to work in their businesses and production facilities. So they take your money as taxpayers, they get a benefit that none of you do in terms of getting loan agreements or preferential tax treatment to start their businesses here in Idaho, and then they give you the finger in the face because they go and hire illegal aliens and foreign nationals. So crony capitalism is alive and well in the state. Another one of our proposals will prohibit the ability of state slush fund monies, including in the what's known as the essentially the Chamber of Commerce fund that the governor has unilateral control over, in providing funding to multinationals whose workforces are not the majority comprised of American citizens. So if you're hiring H-1Bs, OPTs, graduates on F visas, and you're skipping over American citizens, or you're hiring illegal aliens and you're not getting any more preferential tax treatment in the state of Idaho.
Really quick, I'll just do two more questions and then, does it feel really hot in here? Yeah. So we'll just do two more questions and Theo, as usual, buried the lead. I know a lot of you know who he is, but you know, in case you don't, he actually was Trump's main immigration policy guy, Trump 45. So he's done all the things and he's been around the block, and that's why we're glad to have him kind of here with us. But we'll just do two more questions and then wrap up, then we can kind of mingle and whatever. Yes.
Yeah, so I've been here my whole life, and I'm not in alignment with a lot of people in this room. I come from the other side of the aisle. And I came here today because I knew you guys were going to be talking about all this legislation that is against people of color. And I look around and I see maybe two of us in this room, and one of them's a Democratic legislator over there. And I just want to express to you all that there is a whole community of people that feel targeted because of what's going on with ICE enforcement in terms of the way they are not following due process. And there's just video evidence out there. There's a lot of the younger generation of this. I know you guys say that you are nonpartisan. You're advocating for just removing the people that are either taking benefits or causing harm to whatever your business is or whatever. And I can respect that concern. My biggest concern is that we feel like, a lot of us feel like, and I've been here my whole life, so I'm a Boise native, I feel like that there's something changing in the air. And it feels like those of us here who have been here our whole lives and are of color now have to be a bit more afraid, because I might walk down the street and suddenly see an ICE agent. And we are cultivating a climate where that ICE agent may just randomly ask for my papers. I'm a legal citizen. I feel like there's pressure for me to say I'm a legal citizen. But what I worry about is what is going on in this room right now. I feel there's a lot of cultivated racism going on. And the only thing I want to know is... The only thing I want to know is, what reassurances are you giving people who are citizens who feel that there's a lot of pressure coming down from out of nowhere, it feels like, that maybe aren't involved in the state economy or levels like that, that just feel like they're seeing what's going on in the world and they're afraid. And we don't want an armed masked army. Like, I literally don't want to be walking down the street and be worried about being tackled and questioned just because of my skin color, because that seems to be going on. Do you understand my concern?
I'll say one thing and then Theo clearly wants to say something, but I didn't hear anyone up here mention color of skin, and nothing in these bills attacks race or skin pigmentation or anything like that. But go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so as Senator Delaney said, there's nothing here specific to any race or cultural group. We have illegal aliens from Eastern Europe. We have illegal aliens from South and Central America who probably would appear more white, more Caucasian than I am. And the last time I had a suntan was 10 years ago. I just want to make clear, though, that your perspective is not shared by the majority of people of color throughout this country, including in very liberal jurisdictions like New York. A poll dropped today from Siena University. For the state of New York, Black Americans in New York at a level of 38% support the ICE deporting illegal aliens. Latinos in New York at a level of 36% versus 33% opposed support the removal of illegal aliens.
Yeah, can you just answer my question directly to me rather than read from a piece of paper and read some statistics? That feels. Are you going to answer my question, or are you going to talk to your audience?
The last thing I'll say is due process is given to all illegal aliens. Those who have a final order of removal have gone through multiple appeals.
Can you give me the respect, at least looking in my eyes when you talk to me and answer my question?
And at that point, when an ICE agent goes to detain and then remove an illegal alien, they have had the full measure of the law. No one should be confused about that. They have been given.
Are you reassuring them or are you reassuring me? They don't need the reassurances. I'm the only person of color in this room that asked that question. How do I feel safer in my own community that I grew up in? When I have these legitimate fears, are you in?
Potentially for you, it's therapy. But for everyone else,
Therapy.
you should understand how the law works.
We're just,
Senator.
yes, last question. The
Senator Lenny, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to extend a warm welcome to a lady in the room named Lydia, who is a legal immigrant from Brazil. Lydia, if you wouldn't mind standing at the Spanish lady. I'm not sure what the young man has against her. There's probably some deep-seated racism that he needs to deal with.
Yeah, I think, and
I'm going to say something.
yes.
I have accent. Sometimes my English is not clear. I never feel fear about ICE. If ICE stop me, I'm sure my paper is not a problem. If you are here legally, you have to follow the laws. No one's above the law. I know that. To come here, I have to pay all the fees. I have to do all the paperwork. And some people come, broke the law and say, I have due process. What kind of due process? That's a thing to you. You afraid? Why? I'm not afraid. I'm a naturalized American citizen. I have accent. I show my paper. It's no problem. It's no big problem. You guys create a problem for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out for a little bit. That's it. Thanks for coming, everyone.
People that have been told
Please don't drop the live. Do you want me to get your good side? Show me your good side.
There we go, good.
Yeah. What's your name?
Good. Representative Kyle Harris is right there.
Kyle Harris.
Love to hear from you. Steve Tanner, what's your name?
Steve Tanner?
Yeah. So let me tell you something. What's your question answer?
Yeah.
I visited the border this year in September. I went down to McAllen, Texas. We attended a conference down there. We rode on we visited the border. We went down to see what Border Patrol was actually patrolling the border.
Okay.
98% of the Border Patrol agents are Hispanic.
Okay.
They're protecting their country. They know the United States is their country. They're protecting their country.
I believe that.
You turn it into race. You're dishonoring.
But why is the CPB? Why would they need to be here?
Why don't you go down there and see if you're outside of Boise?
The CPB belongs on the border, right?
Go
right?
outside
Why would
Boise.
CPB need to be in Idaho? Is my
Go
question.
outside Boise and look at something different.
I don't need to go outside of Boise. Why would I go outside?
I think you do.
Okay.
What's your name? Do you mind sharing your name, sir?
I'm like amongst a lot of people who disagree with me, and it feels a little unsafe, so I don't want to share my name.
I
But
think you're very safe right now.
all right.
Just so you know, they're
We're
only
glad
going
we found
after
it.
criminals and illegal aliens that have been told.
Yeah, but what about Alex
Pretty?
Preddy? Was he a criminal?
Huh?
Was Alex Preddy a criminal?
Well, he was basically, he did kick in the backside of a ice, and then he spit.
So therefore, they should have killed him.
If I spit at you, that's assault.
But would I kill you for that? Should I kill you for that?
You could arrest me.
Okay, they could have arrested him, right?
Well, they tried to, but they let him go. Sir,
Yeah,
sir,
all
spitting
right.
is assault, right? If I spit at somebody, that's an assault. That makes you
Yeah.
a criminal. And that's what that Alex
He's not going to
Preddy
talk
did.
politics with you. Like, he's not here for that. Like, you guys Trump supporters? Say no. Oh, don't touch my fucking shit, bro.
Touch his camera. All right.
Try it again, fucker.
You show up at everything. Yeah, what do you want from me?
I don't know. You were pointing your camera at me, so I felt obligated. Lynn Bredescu. Okay,
Yeah,
I know
feel
who you are,
obligated?
Lynn.
I don't know. You're probably a great candidate to join the Republican Party and really find out what life is all about. Because we support everyone.
You are
We want-
deporting my people.
I am not deporting anybody.
You are trying to deport Idahoans.
You smell like
Idahoans
you
are my
have
people.
alcohol on your breath. Have you been drinking a lot?
Yeah, I've been drinking quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
You are deporting. What is that on your chest?
What on my chest? My freckles, my boobs, my.
How much money have you taken from APAC?
Me?
Yeah.
You really ought to get some therapy.
Just chat with you.
I am just a citizen. Okay, I'm not some fancy person. I'm just
That's all
a
right.
citizen.
Do you want to chat?
Yeah, sure. If you don't mind me
me
recording, like,
Yeah,
it's for my safety. If you don't want to chat on.
Do you need a follow out or you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. if you
You're
would.
good. I was going to chat with you. I don't want to be recorded, but I
Well,
have an
this
answer
is
to
for
your-
my safety. This is for my safety. If you don't want to be.
Yeah, I was just
maybe
going to.
another
No,
time. Maybe
no.
another
I
time.
can tell you. I got an answer for your query. I think, we're bombarded with fear and narratives on both sides. And I think a lot of the problem is why we're so polarized and divided is because we listen to the fear narratives on each side, right? Fox and CNN.
Clint Hulsleiter, what district are you from?
I'm down in Twin Falls, rural county area.
Okay.
And so, honestly, the enemy, right, of all of us wants to keep us divided, right? United
I
we stand,
agree.
divided we
I
fall.
agree.
And I think really the problem we all get worked up is because we get worked in on emotional narratives and really divisive issues, polarized by design, and that's what this stuff happens. And so my solution to people on the right and the left is turn off the media. And that's I hear what you're saying, man. I don't have any problem with you, right? And I think most of those people don't.
The problem with the oppressed is that turning off the media means turning off accountability. If I wasn't doing what I do, which is record things, then the accountability goes away. The public eye goes away.
I
When
get
the public
that.
eye goes
No.
away and the accountability goes away, then the oppressor gets to run free.
Well,
and there is an oppressor right now. And that is why I'm here.
Everybody thinks that, right? I think the big one is you look at from the paradigm.
I can't relate to it, sorry. I appreciate the escort.
Where were you Saturday?
Saturday?
Oh, you there?
Yes. No. Saturday pro ice rally. I was. Fuck. What was I doing? I was in Culver.
Oh, there.
For the anti-ice rally. All right. I don't know my way out of this building.
Okay, so steps are that way.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Okay. Do you drive or do you walk?
Yeah, I walk. So I'll be all right once I get out of the building. Where all these corner blind spots are. All right, I'm all right. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right.